it's Miranda from Miranda Mae Designs and co-creator at Piglet's Closet. I wanted to just hop on today and just play with some texture I thought I'd invite you guys to join me. I have kind of a vision of what I would like to do, and it's probably going to be a two-part process, but I thought you would maybe enjoy kind of seeing my process and what I like to do. So this is a window. I'm going to tilt it up so you guys can see. That I used one of Redesign's, I know there's a glare in there, Redesign's A1 Decoupage papers, and it is beautiful. The color and the details in this paper are so amazing, and this is actually a piece that I'm going to end up keeping for myself. So I wanted to go ahead and do the paper first, so that I could kind of get a sense for the colors, so that I know what I'm going to do around kind of the white window. So my goal at the end is to have either no white or very little white. We'll kind of see how it goes. And I want to add some texture and character to it as well. So and to start, I prepped the window, cleaned it all very well. I used a razor blade at an angle very gently to get off any of the extra paint. I actually applied the paper to the back of the window. So this is the part that's going to be hung. And I used a matte gel that I will show you in a minute. And I cut it out each pane, and your eye kind of naturally fills in the gaps. And so I cut out this piece of the paper as well. So I started with the top, laid this one back over here, and then cut off a little bit more and did the same for the bottom. So that worked out really well. The next thing I did to prepare the window was to just knock off any of the chips, because your paint and texture is only going to adhere as well as everything underneath is adhered. So I don't care about how rough it is, because I'm going to add texture anyways, but I wanted to knock off any of the loose paint chips. Being an old window, I did test for lead. I just always like to know before I start playing around with old paint. And this, thankfully, did not have lead in it, so I didn't have to worry. I didn't wear a mask when I was chipping it off, and I just vacuumed it up. I didn't do any sanding on it, though. So, I am going to, here is the paste I used. It's called a 3D Matte Gel, and it's by the Finnabair Art Basics Redesign line. So it's just a really nice consistency. It's pretty thick, and I just put it on, and I did make sure that I liked the brush strokes. Even though it is transparent, you might still get a little bit of that texture with the eye and the brush strokes in there. So I did make sure that they were horizontal across how I wanted them, and if you're going to see any of them. And so it is currently drying right now. So today I have decided, I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer so that you can see less of me and more of what I'm doing. Okay, so I am going to play around with Paint Couture's Crust texture paste. I love this stuff. It's like it's kind of sandy in texture, and you can build it up, you can sand it down. So we're going to play with that. We're going to play with some of the Dixie Belle's mud. I'm going to put some of that on there. And then I have 2 stencils I'm also going to use in various places. So I have the Redesign with Prima's decor stencil. This is the distressed wallpaper, and then the script stencil. So we're just gonna play with kind of one of those at a time. I love the distressed wallpaper. I want this to have kind of that very rustic distress, but also lacy, elegant feel with the picture of the paper. I just think that that really matches well. So I am going to open this up. so I am going to start, I want to start by using my stencils, and then I'm going to do some freeform texture, but I don't want to get the stencil in parts of the freeform texture that I'll do later. So I have decided that I want to use this stencil right here, and I'm gonna kind of do the script on this side just a little bit, just some words probably up in this corner, and then I want kind of the stencil here. So I'm going to trying to decide I think I might actually do it this way. Trying to decide, because the stencil pattern continues this way, but I do like the lace scallops down at the bottom, so I might play with it a little bit. So what I might actually do is kind of do this here, and then I can just add different parts of this. I don't have to use the whole stencil. So what I want is I want the scalloped part at the bottom, and then I'm just gonna play with it here. So sometimes what I will do is spray with like an adhesive repositionable spray on my back of my stencils if I'm really concerned about them being more crisp. Since we're just kind of going for antique and texture, I'm not as concerned about it, so I'm just gonna play with it, and I'm not gonna spray the back of it. So I'll just hold it down as I go. I also have, let's see, my big ones here. These are by Redesign with Prima also, but they're just kind of flexible little knives. So those are really helpful. I have a bunch of palette knives that I'm gonna play with too, that are pretty inexpensive and super fun. So there's lots of different textures, angles. There's, ones that are like this, and then we've got some, just knives that are flat. So we're gonna play with those. I also have a brush. So the first thing I'm gonna start with is this crust. And I think what I'm gonna do is use my little Redesign tool here, and I'm just gonna go make sure I have it lined up where I want. Pretty, and again, it's distressed, so it's not going to be perfectly straight anyways. I just want to make sure that it's appealing to the eye. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this, and I'm hoping, let me tilt you down a little bit more if you really want to see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this, and I'm just gonna lightly go over the stencil and get it in the pattern. You can put it on heavy, you can put it on lighter. I'm gonna kind of go back and make it not uniform here, because I'm using this tool. It's scraping it all off at relatively the same height. But I'm gonna go back and create some kind of mountains, a little bit, peaks and valleys. This is one of my favorite texture mediums to play with. Just add so much character and depth to pieces, and it is like indestructible, other than if you sand it, and even that can be a little challenging after it dries, so you don't have to worry about it coming off. Okay, I want to make sure I've got it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not going for perfect, but I do want it coated. Okay, so I'm gonna go back, and now that I have it, I'm just kind of dabbing a little bit to give it some more depth, texture. Okay, and then I'm gonna carefully lift my stencil off. Oh, that looks beautiful. Okay, I'm hoping you can see that. I'm gonna bring you in for a close-up. So I'm gonna set this aside. So hopefully you can, let me pull you out here. See that texture. So that's exactly what I am looking for. We're just gonna keep going. And I probably could have not pulled it off. I wasn't thinking. I should have done up the side. So what I'm gonna do is actually going to use I'm gonna kind of separate them a little bit. And then I might go back in and fill it in with some of the distressing. So, and what I do, there is a little redesign with Prima sticker, so I generally take or cut out there the logo, and I have learned the hard way where I painted it onto my piece. So now I kind of just go ahead and cover it so that I know that it's not going to get into my piece. So let's go ahead and do in here. And then if there's some that are too big, when it dries, I can come back and just kind of knock off the peaks. But I do want some differentiation in that. I'm gonna leave this part out, and I'm just gonna do this. Make sure it's coated. Again, because it's already kind of a distressed stencil, it's not going to be perfect, which sometimes I like because I don't have to worry about it not turning out perfect. Okay. Pull that up. Look at how that looks gorgeous. Okay, so sometimes what I also like to do is scrape off the extra. I don't know if you can see that. So what I will do, just lay it down here to show you, is I'm literally going to just scrape off the crust, anything that's kind of raised and remaining on the stencil. One, I don't wash it down the drain that way. And two, I save it. Because you don't want to waste your materials if you can help it. I'll just get off what I can easily. All right, and then I will take that in and wash it here pretty soon. So when that dries, let me lay it down. So this might take me probably a couple days to really finish, but when this dries, I'm gonna add a little bit, probably half of one to come up to here. And then I wanna do some let's put that in the lid. Kind of some of a free form texture paste. So what I want to do, I just want to get the texture on here. So I know I'm going to bring the stencil up to like here, and I just want to come in here and I want to create just some rustic texture. So again, kind of going with those peaks and valleys. Get you guys closer. And I'm just, lift it up a little bit, just kind of rubbing it on and rolling my tool. So I know in that corner there that's where I want some more to come down. And okay, so we're gonna start with that. And then I'm gonna move on for now to my Dixie Belle mud. And because this is script, I do want it to be a little bit more readable. We're gonna try it without the adjustable adhesive because I don't want to wait for it to dry. You guys don't want to watch me wait for it to dry. Usually wait about 5 minutes, spray it and then wait. So for this, I just, and I just want it to come down a little bit just to add some extra dimension and texture. And we're gonna paint over these, so you're not gonna see everything, and that's okay. Kind of like a little bit of a love letter framing up here, I guess that's how I look at it. Want it to be straight on the top. Okay, so I'm gonna use the Dixie Belle paste for this. And I think what I'm gonna do is, actually I want my smaller one. We're gonna use this little spatula here. So I'm just gonna mix it up really well. Okay, wipe it off. And then, oops, I'm gonna take it on the back. And I'm just gonna carefully go up, over, and get it laid in there. So this is going to be a little bit more level with the surface that I'm doing. I'm not going to kind of raise it too much. I just want it to be more subtle. I'm just going to carefully go over. And try not to get it underneath. That's where the adhesive works really well because it helps it stick and you don't have to worry about it as much. But again, it's okay because it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going for rustic on this piece. I might lift up this one once I'm done and see how we're doing. And if I don't like it, then I may go ahead and let it dry. I could wipe it off and start over and use the the repositional adhesive if it's not working well. So I'm just gonna take a peek. That's looking pretty good actually. So I'm just gonna lightly scrape off the extra. So now with the Dixie Belle mud, and it'll say this on the container, you do not want to put this down your sink. So what I do is wipe it off the best I can. And then I will take it actually outside in the grass and run it in the hose so that it doesn't plug up your drains, because it is tough as nails when you when it hardens. And I think Cece I think she's the one that had said that kind of clogged her drains in her studio, and so I just haven't taken any chances, and I just wipe off what I can and put it outside. I love this stencil because the script is not 100% the same, and it's also that distressed kind of vintage lacy vibe as well. You can use it on the side of drawers, right on the front of pieces for furniture, just like I'm doing. There's so many possibilities with it. And it's fun to be able to use the tools that you have with texture paste, with paints. I think it's fun to change it up, and keeps things fun and creative. All right, so I think I want a little bit more right there. Not much. All right, so we're gonna pull it up and see how we did. Very nice, look at that. Oh, that's gorgeous. And I think what I will do, it's pretty thick. So this stencil's one of their thicker stencils, so it really does raise, which I may like when it dries. And I may also choose to sand it down a little bit, and that's super easy to do. You can even sand it in some places and not in others. And that works just fine. So what I'm going to do now, this is going to be kind of that smooth script. I'm going to add some more probably down here, and then I'm also going to pull you back over here, give you a better angle. I'm going to just add and closer so you can see too, some more of that crust texture paste here. So I'm just going to put it on. I want to see what some of this stuff is gonna, some of these tools are gonna do. So it may be that I just like the, there we go, I like that one better. Not as uniform. I don't want it to be so, things to be so uniform on this piece. So this is kind of in the corner. I'm gonna just, oops, I don't want to put that on there. Come up and down. Do a little dragging. I actually like how this one, actually just the flat one, is doing a nice job of giving it that texture. And then I want to kind of fade it out up here as well. And I kind of think I want to go over this a little bit, this rough area. Maybe some down here. If I got it on too thick, I can just take it off like that. Okay. And then we're just gonna fade it out of here. There we go. All right, I'm gonna leave that for now. I'm gonna go clean up my tools, and then I'm gonna let this dry. So it's probably gonna need to dry, I'd probably let it dry overnight because I have it on pretty thick. So it's like the late afternoon here for me. So in the morning I'll be able to come back out and touch up. I'm going to do more stenciling and with both pastes, and so I'm gonna end up being kind of going into probably day 3 with this, but I will add more here tomorrow, and then I'll probably hop back on just so you guys can see maybe me sanding, and then we're gonna start to play with some waxes and paints. So this is kind of just the first laying the foundation, the first part of our little project. So hopefully I'll see you back here for part 2, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you.